Hello, Placentia community. This is Eric Holmgren, your ambassador at large. And today I am with David Ruiz at Loaded Café. How are you doing today, David?
Fantastic. How are you today?
I am excellent. I'm happy to be in your restaurant. I've enjoyed lunch here in the past. And so it's kind of nice to get back in here and enjoy the environment. So tell me, how long have you had Loaded Café?
So we first started in 2014 over at the Long Beach location.
Okay.
We pretty much opened up our doors. I believe maybe it was late April.
Okay.
We recently closed down. It was an IHOP location.
All right.
Loaded Cafe, I would say, started off as a vision for my father. And since he was 15, 16 years old, he worked as a busser, server, cook, all the way up to manager. And he was finally lucky enough to open up his own business.
Okay.
And from IHOP, we parted ways and we converted IHOP to Loaded Cafe.
Okay.
So I would say it's my father's vision. Everything started from him.
All right. So how long? So your family's been in the restaurant business for how long?
Ooh, I would say my father, he recently turned 64. I would say close to 45, 50
Okay.
years.
Wow. And so then you've been in it for most of your time as
Since I
well.
was born. Ever since I can remember, I think I was 6, 7 years old. I was helping take menus, roll serverware, clean tables.
Okay. Well, good. And now Loaded Cafe is not the only restaurant you have.
No, we have 7.
7. Okay.
Yes.
And now are they all Loaded Cafe or are they different names, different menus?
So it's on Loaded Cafe.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, good. Well, good. Well, and then you've been here in Placentia. Were you the original IHOP people as well, or did you buy
We were.
space after that?
We
Okay.
were, and then we just felt it was necessary for us to part ways. It was pretty much two competing businesses concepts, and we wanted to just focus 100% on Loaded Cafe.
Okay. And then what is it about? What's the difference with Loaded Cafe? What's like the theme or what's the concept menu-wise that you have here with Loaded Cafe?
So the best way to explain it, it's a traditional American breakfast with a touch of Mexican flavor.
Okay.
We have your famous country fried steak and eggs. We have pancakes, crepes, waffles. And for the Mexican side, we have menudo, chilaquiles, tortas, enchiladas. So the best of American food and the best of Mexican food.
Okay. Okay. So there's the mix between the two.
Yes.
Okay. But it's not necessarily a case where you're mixing the recipes so much as you have separate entrees than that are bringing in from these different cultures for one.
We do have separate entrees, but we
Okay.
have a fusion of American and Mexican. I would give an example, churro crepes. So it's the delicious crepes, but
Right.
topped with churro, cinnamon sugar,
Oh,
whipped
wow.
cream. So we got a
Okay.
little fusion going on there.
I got to try one of those.
Very delicious.
Very good. Very, very good. As you know, with our chamber chats, what we usually try to do is have our business friends share some business wisdom that can then be used by our fellow chamber members. So what's a problem or an issue that you've been having as a business person? And then what are some ways that you're working through those?
I would say not just this location or our business. I would say a lot of us, we're struggling with inflation.
Okay.
Rising labor costs, rising food costs. That's something that we've all been dealing with. And that's the biggest challenge for us at this moment.
Okay. And with those rising costs, obviously you can pass some of that along to the consumer, but at some point there's a tipping point. You can't go too far.
Correct.
So what are some mechanisms that you're using to try to keep your costs down without passing too much along to the customer?
I would say one of the first objectives that we've had ever since things started rising is since we have 7 locations, we have buying power and we're able to talk to our suppliers for them to, I would say, support us, lower some of the costs. It's been helpful, but to a certain extent, we've been more heavily focused on community outreach, on helping out the community, because like my father always says, if you're there for the community will be there for you.
Right.
And that's something that we've always focused on since we first opened up our doors in 2014. It's been a big help because if the community doesn't know who you are, it's hard for them to visit your location. And what I mean by that, fundraising, being there for schools, churches, organizations. And if you're well known, more people come and visit you, and it helps the traffic.
Right.
Helps increase in sales. So that's I would say another item that we've been doing, focusing on heavily.
Right.
Apart from that, I would say pushing more on catering.
Okay.
It's something that requires less labor, and it's more of just the food cost. But the return, it's a big return.
Okay.
So we've been pushing with organizations, with clubs, with businesses, and that's something that's helped us out extensively for them.
Okay. So obviously trying to negotiate for lower cost.
Yes,
And even though your margin is a little less, if you have more volume, you're still doing well then.
correct.
And then finding another outlet by, in this case, doing catering that has a higher margin.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Well, those are all great strategies.
Yeah.
Which would you say has been the best for you so far out of those three?
I would say there's actually a fourth one.
Oh, there's a fourth one.
Yes.
Okay.
So we've actually, as a group, we came together. How can we offer a new product to our customers that requires less labor, less food cost? And that's where the idea came out for having our own bakery, called
Ah,
My Panecito.
okay.
So My Panecito, we're soon to open up in about 2 or 3 months. And pretty much they make everything that's gourmet personal cakes.
Okay.
So we have 13 different flavors. We offer those to our customers for all 7 locations. And because it requires so little labor, the food cost is a lot lower. We've been able to have a better bottom line.
Okay. So this is basically then a bakery that is catering to the other seven restaurants.
Correct.
Okay.
So everything from our cakes, but also it supplies us with everything that's our bread. Because
Right.
bread, it's a pretty high cost right now.
Yes.
So everything from sourdough, whole wheat, French toast, it's made by our bakery at a lower cost.
Okay. Now, obviously, you've got the resources and the volume to make that work. So I suppose if you were a smaller type of business, the same sort of thing you do would either be try to maybe form a co-op with other businesses in your area or other businesses in your industry, or go to some of those larger types of discount stores
Yes, correct.
that can then use their volume to give you a lower price.
Correct.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to be in the position where you are. You've
Yeah.
got a little bit more control over that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, well, good. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us about that or anything else before we wrap things up?
I would say the biggest thing to pretty much what I could say is we started from square one, from step one, and where we are now. A lot of businesses, smaller businesses, could say, "Oh wow, well we don't have the buying power, we don't have these other avenues for income." We start from somewhere, and when we first opened up our doors, it was just one loaded cafe.
Right.
Our menu is completely different from what we offered then to now. It's night and day. So I would say just don't be complacent as a business owner, as any business. Complacency leads to failure.
Right.
So always find different strategies on if it's competing to get better costs, if it's supporting not only the community, we're offering a different product. That's always very helpful.
Okay.
But that's something that I would say because in this industry, in this business, we can't be complacent.
Right.
You know, we got to find different avenues for having a better bottom line. When 2020 hit COVID, it was disastrous for everybody.
Yep.
But it helped us. It helped us on reaching new, I guess, areas we've never reached before. If it's the third-party deliveries, if it's focusing heavily more on catering. So I would say, even though if you're going through a storm right now, just buckle up, be patient. Eventually, the sun will come out.
Right.
But connect is really important. Businesses around you, see what you could do, see what advice they could give, because that's always important. Making connections, having relationships. Because back in the past, when I was working for IHOP, a lot of businesses around us, they'd have the mentality, you're our enemy, you're our competition. But it's not about competing with each other. It's about uniting, because every business at the end of the day, they have the same objective,
Right.
which is pretty much providing for their families.
Yeah.
That's the main reason why I work, for my family so they can have a better future.
Right. Well, and I think that's a big part of the Chamber of Commerce is we've got so many people with a whole wealth of backgrounds, diverse backgrounds, and we're all trying to help each other grow our businesses and be prosperous. And so, yes, even though we've got some other restaurateurs in the chamber, I think that you guys all have enough differences and similarities that you can all help each other out. Similarly, I have nothing to do with restaurant business, but I can learn from what you just told me, and it'll help my business too.
Yes.
So, great stuff. Anything else before we wrap it up?
All I could say is just thank you. You know, I feel very honored and privileged to be a part of the Chamber of Placentia. We do have 7 locations, 7 different cities, and we've been with a few chambers. There's no chamber like Placentia.
It's true. We are the best in the universe. Yeah, no doubt.
I was blessed to be a part of the Rotary Club a meeting that they
Right.
had,
Yeah.
and I felt the unity. I felt the support from each other, and that's something that I've never felt in any other chamber.
Fantastic. Well, good. Well, thank you so much. And as a fellow business person, I really have loved the chamber as well. And I'm happy that I'm able to do my part to make it better too. So it was excellent to meet with you
Thank
today.
you so much.
And I'll be back for lunch and maybe one of those churro crepes.
I'll have that ready
So-
for you. Thank you so much.
All right, everybody. Until our next episode, be well.